Prepare to get gas because it's time for the Week in Gear. I'm Andy, welcome to the show that brings you the most exciting guitar gear released in the last 7 days. And this week, Fender teams up with an 80s legend for a telly that might eat all your spare change. Marshall celebrates Jimi Hendrix with a psychedelic hand-wired half-stack, and Ibanez reminds you that it's about time to buy another tube screamer. This episode is sponsored by the Patreon and YouTube supporters. More about that in a bit. Now, let's kick off this week's gear list with an absolutely bonkers crossover that no one saw coming. Now, 2026 marks 2 huge anniversaries. 75 years of the Fender Telecaster and 45 years of one of the most iconic arcade games ever created. To celebrate, Fender has teamed up with Bandai Namco for a limited run release. This is the Fender limited edition Pac-Man Player 2 Telecaster. Now, to be honest with you, we see a lot of pop culture collaborations, and there is more than one of these in this video, for example. And while this does look undeniably cool, the execution feels a little lazy or like a missed opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong, underneath the flashy exterior, this is a highly capable Player 2 Telecaster platform, meaning it is a serious gig-ready instrument. But that is exactly the issue. They essentially just took a standard production model and slapped a giant graphic on it. The older body serves as the canvas for the classic arcade maze on the front, with Pac-Man mid-chomp running from Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. And the retro game logo is also on the back. But beyond the paint job, the specs are completely stock. You get the standard modern C profile maple neck, a 9.5-inch radius rosewood fingerboard with those rolled edges, and the standard Player Series Alnico 5 single coil pickups. There are no custom ghost inlays, there's no arcade button kill switch, no yellow hardware, nothing that actually integrates the theme into the build of the guitar itself. I would have loved to have seen the pickup selector as a red knobbed arcade joystick, and the volume and tone knobs as red arcade buttons at least. And I realise that I'm criticising a fun guitar, and if it did have these extra appointments, the price would have been potentially prohibitive. But I am hoping that someone buys one of these and retrofits the arcade stuff themselves and then sends me pictures. Also, due to Pac-Man's location on the graphic, you won't be able to see him if someone's actually playing the guitar. And this is a very capable guitar that seems to be made to be hung on a wall, like mine back there. And if that's the case, then why not go all out on the design? If it's aimed at collectors, make it a collector's edition, not a Player 2. It does come with a deluxe gig bag, and it lands right around the 1,100 notes mark, and you are paying a noticeable premium entirely for the finish. But if you're a die-hard retro gaming collector, it is a fun piece of 1980s memorabilia. However, if you just want a good Telecaster, you can buy a standard Player 2 for a lot less money. For this one, the gasometer is sitting at a very cautious borrow it. I had the arcade sounds going through my head. Now, dropping the arcade nostalgia and stepping straight into pure rock and roll history and nostalgia, we have a limited new drop from Marshall. 2026 marks 60 years since Jimi Hendrix plugged into his first Marshall amp, and to celebrate, they put together a towering bundle. This is the Marshall Hendrix 60th anniversary half stack, and on paper, this is a very cool, historically accurate rig, or seemingly historically accurate. The centerpiece is the 1959 JMH Super Lead head, a traditional hand-wired 100-watt powerhouse driven by 4 EL34 power tubes, and then pairing that with a matching 1960 AHW angled 4x12 cabinet loaded with Celestion G12H30 speakers. They even teamed up with Dunlop to include a custom silicon JHF1 fuzz face pedal, which I think is actually the highlight of this. I want that fuzz pedal, of course. Anyway, the whole bundle, everything, including all the extras, is decked out in a fairly wild, but not over the top, psychedelic purple splatter finish with custom badges. And it lands, wait for it, right at around the 5,000 notes mark. Ouch. But I have to be honest, I'm always deeply skeptical of when guitar brands or any type of brand and dead artists have a tie-in thing when the artist didn't actually agree to anything. It's the estate making the choices. Because when a company drops a $5,000 museum quality half stack with a flashy paint job, it usually serves one real purpose, and that's marketing. However, bear with me on this, a regular hand-wired 1959 JMH Super Lead head will set you back around 2,500 notes. And a regular 1960 AHW angled 4x12 cab with the same speakers is a further 1,100 notes. So you can see how the cost starts to make more sense. Kinda. But allow me to be truly skeptical and put on my tinfoil hat. Actually, I don't have any tinfoil, so aluminium's gonna have to do. Can I get a little twist of that'll do. Right. Are you ready, fellow tinfoil hat wearers? I strongly suspect that this costly but cool Hendrix guitar amp bundle was built entirely to act as a halo product to, yes, celebrate the Hendrix and Marshall relationship, but mainly to generate hype for the other release in this anniversary collection, the Marshall Acton 3 Bluetooth speaker covered in crushed purple velvet, available for around 300 notes. And the absolute worst part? As much as I find the whole marketing strategy completely transparent, I actually really love that velvet Bluetooth speaker, and it is deeply embarrassing to admit, but I kind of low-key really want one. In fact, let's take that off. Could you just take a look at this for a moment? This Deadpool themed pocket watch. Stare intently. In fact, let's put it over there. That's it. Stare intently at this innocent Deadpool themed pocket watch. Good. Good. This is your inner voice speaking. You feel sleepy. You feel the insatiable urge to click Andy's affiliate links in the video description and buy the Marshall half-stack bundle so that Andy can use the money to get the purple Bluetooth speaker that would certainly look great in his studio. And then you would see it in future videos and know that you made that happen. Together, we can do this. You can get an amp, Andy can get an amp, everybody wins. Everything is okay with the world. Actually, as I have you here, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and why not go and help someone in need today? But most of all, click Andy's affiliate links and buy the Marshall amp. Why not pick up a Stratocaster or two while you're at it? Whoa, I kind of blacked out for a moment there. Where were we? Yes, so with no hidden agenda, the Marshall Hendrix amp bundle gets a wallet on fire. Go and buy it now. No, it's cool, but at most it is borrow it. We don't have a sponsor this week. I just wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to those who support the show on Patreon and here on YouTube. Without you this week, this show wouldn't be possible. And we are at around 25% of funding the show entirely through viewers. So if you enjoy the show and you'd like to get the show closer to 100% viewer supported, then there is a link in the video description. It is quite a challenge to get sponsors for the show because I have standards. I'm not going to take sponsorship from the AI companies that keep contacting me or products that I don't think suit the show, the channel, or things that I don't stand behind. There are plenty of those people who want to throw money at us. So I only allow sponsors that are actually, well, part of something that I believe in, which is why I want to get this audience funded. If that is out of your reach at the moment, I totally understand. Then drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video around the interwebs. That would be insanely powerful of you. So, thank you very much, and let's get back to the gear. For those of you looking to step up into the premium tier of classic electrics, Gibson has finally answered a lot of prayers this week. If you've been looking to buy a Gibson ES-335 lately, and quite frankly, haven't we all, the lineup has felt a little bit convoluted. Well, Gibson just gave their flagship semi-hollow the exact same streamlined treatment they gave the Les Paul Standard. These are the brand new Gibson USA ES-335 50s and 60s. Instead of treating the 335 as one universal instrument, Gibson is now giving players two distinct, historically inspired being the correct word there, paths. Both models are handcrafted in Nashville, finished in a gloss nitrocellulose lacquer, and share the foundational 3-ply maple poplar maple body. And these aim to capture the vintage vibe, the neck profiles, and the tone of their respective decades, rather than being exact museum-grade historical replicas. That is for the custom shop orders. And here is where the specs get split. Now, if you want the spirit of the original 1958 run, the ES-335 50s features a substantial, hand-filling, rounded C mahogany neck. It's got classic acrylic dot inlays and the longer 50s style pickguard, which honestly I've never noticed before. And it is loaded with a pair of custom Bucker Alnico 3 pickups, some of my favorite pickups that Gibson do. If you prefer a much faster feel, the hot rod of them, then the ES-335 60s shifts into the next decade. It swaps that chunky neck for a sleek, slim taper profile. It also features the smaller block inlays and uses Grover milk bottle rotomatic tuners. It is loaded with calibrated T-type humbuckers with Alnico 5 magnets for a more punchier and focused attack, according to the specs. Fun fact, the Gibson ES-335 actually got its name because back in 1958, it cost exactly $355. So, it brings me immense, deeply ironic pleasure to announce that, thanks to the absolute magic of 60-odd years of inflation, these new models land right around 3, 5, 5, 9 notes. So, if you've been waiting for Gibson to finally offer a dialed-in, almost decade-correct 335 without forcing you to remortgage your house for the custom shop option, the gasometer is firmly at buy it now. I was going to go add to cart. I can't decide. Do both. You decide. Now let's take a quick detour away from things you plug into and look at something you wear. I think it's always fun when guitar companies and guitar culture bleeds into everyday accessories. And two massive Japanese brands have just teamed up to deliver what might be the coolest piece of musician merch of the year. And I think the first time a piece of merch has been featured on this show. Correct me on that if I'm wrong in the comments. This is the Citizen and Ibanez Tube Screamer Tsuno Chrono watch. Citizen took their iconic 1970s Tsuno Chrono series, which is famous for that vintage bullhead design where the chronograph pushers sit on top of the case like bullhorns, and completely decked it out in a tribute to the most famous overdrive pedal in history. The entire dial is finished in that unmistakable, quintessential Tube Screamer green, specifically color matched to the newest TS808 HWV2 flagship model, the hand-wired one that I have here somewhere. It's on a pedal board somewhere. But the best, absolute best part of the design is the 3 chronograph subdials. They have been perfectly laid out to represent the 3 knobs on the pedal, complete with drive and tone and level printed right on the watch face. It features the classic Tube Screamer logo on both the dial and the stainless steel case back. It runs on that reliable Citizen quartz movement and even comes packaged in a custom box designed to look exactly like the TS808 HWV2 pedal housing. This is sadly a strictly limited run of only 500 pieces worldwide. It was just announced for the Japanese market at 44,000 yen, which translates to right around 280, 300 USD, or whatever that is in various notes, depending on the exchange rate. I saw this pop up on my Instagram and I am aware of how ridiculous it is, but especially ridiculous to feature this on a gear show. But I can't help that I absolutely love this. I tried to scroll past, I tried to listen to reason, but I love it so much. I love it so much that it was almost my pick of the week. And I'm not into watches or anything, or one of those kind of people, but I do think this is very cool. I did actually try to buy one, full disclosure. I went on the link and I found it and I Googled it and all that, and I made the decision to get it. I got to the checkout part of the purchase and then I was informed that it's not possible to ship to my location, and I got this notification. I am truly gutted, but it's not but also, in addition to, it is my birthday soon, and apparently I'm very hard to buy for. I know my family doesn't watch this, but if they did, they might find the perfect gift for me. And I figured that if it's the perfect gift for me, it might be the perfect gift for you. So that's why I'm talking about it on The Week in Gear. Anyway, I think it would be funny if you could actually, not funny, but fun, if you could actually plug into it and get some tones out of it, you know, like one of those micro pedals. But I know that's asking too much. Maybe next year. If you want to subtly flex your tone obsession every time you check the time, the gasometer is firmly at wallet on fire. I love it.
Andy's Pick of the Week.
And finally, we have arrived at my pick of the week, and it's not a watch. If you want to fundamentally change the way you write riffs and approach songs, an easy way to do it is to pick up a baritone guitar, because the lower register completely forces you to think differently about your chord voicings and will result in you playing differently. Well, Gretsch has just dropped 2 brand new, reasonably affordable models into their Electromatic line. And while both look fantastic, I have a very clear personal favourite. These are the new Gretsch Electromatic Baritones. They released 2 distinct flavours. First is the classy looking Jet Baritone, which features a massive 29 3/4 inch scale length and a chambered mahogany body. But my absolute pick of the bunch is the Electromatic CVT Baritone. The CVT has a slightly shorter 27 inch scale length, and for a lot of players, stepping up to near 30 inch scale on the Jet can feel a bit like wrestling with a bass guitar. But the 27 inch scale on the CVT should provide the perfect middle ground. And it claims to maintain plenty of string tension for that tight percussive low end in B standard or A standard, but it should still feel entirely comfortable and fast under the fingers for traditional guitar players. A definite happy middle ground between bass and a guitar. It has a beautifully contoured, solid mahogany double-cut body that is incredibly sleek and looks very well balanced. In fact, it's so beautiful, it deserves a full screen 5 seconds.
It's so beautiful, it deserves a full screen 5 seconds.
It comes loaded with a pair of Gretsch's new Twin 6 humbuckers, which are specifically voiced to deliver a thunderous low end whilst retaining the signature articulate Gretsch top end chime. And for maximum versatility, both pickups can be independently split via push-pull tone pots to unlock a snappy single-coil baritone texture. Nice. Both the Jet and the CVT models land at just under 600 notes. And for an absolutely inspiring songwriting tool that looks far above its price tag, the Electromatic CVT Baritone definitely takes my pick of the week. And the gasometer is at a resounding buy it now. I love it. But not as much as the watch. Oh, what have I done? The watch should have been my pick of the week. Have I failed you? No. No, I haven't. I'm sticking with the Gretsch, I think. Move on, quickly. A massive thank you to everyone who watches, subscribes, but as always, a special thanks to the Patreon supporters scrolling past my face right now. Hello, TikTok, TikTok. Hello there, and a huge hello there, and thanks to the YouTube members, also on screen, TikTok, TikTok. It is genuinely a pleasure to have you as part of the show. If you want to join them, all the info's in the video description, as well as the links to all the products from this week, including the watch. And now, a special shout out to the top tier members. Here we go. Antonio Cruz Beretta, Buddha Blue, Boom Shakalaka, Buzzle, Chris Kelly, Craig's Fist, Darth Bagel, David Meyer, Dirk, Doug Paget, Fuzz-Onkel, Hendrix Strelka, Johnny McBadminton, Kultur Pop, Mike CQB241, Mike Lute, Andrew Morgan, Craig Vber, Darius Lives, Gary O'Neill, Josh Tanberg, Man, Dude, Bro, Fat Raptor, PQ Deads, Sarang Narayan, Sanya Chen, Sarah Marie, Southern Panda 33, and TWIG is inconceivable, brilliant, good show, man. Let me know your pick of the week in the comments. Maybe it's the watch. Subscribe if you fancy it, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!